Not everyone wants to make it on their own.
I got a surprise for you.
Some people prefer to feed off others,
Come to Papa.
whatever the cost. Orange County, California. It's the dawn of the 21st century. But in the Little Saigon district of Westminster, the old ways prevail.
It is not unusual in the Vietnamese community for business owners to go to a fortune teller, and people often rely on every word they say.
36-year-old Tanya Nelson needs a financial miracle.
Tanya had a lingerie shop in Little Saigon, but it wasn't doing well. She and her husband had acquired over $200,000 in debt.
I see better times ahead.
Really?
A good fortune teller. They were extremely respected and looked up to, and they were a bit like a celebrity.
None is more successful or revered than Jade Smith.
Your bad luck will change.
Really?
Tanya hung on every piece of advice Jade gave her.
If you move,
Move? To where?
She thought that she needed to move the location of the business in order for the business to do better.
North Carolina. You'll find success in North Carolina. That's where your future is.
Predicting people's futures has made Jade a fortune.
She was making a tremendous amount of money, sometimes $15,000 for a reading.
To new beginnings.
To new beginnings.
And she flaunted her money. She drove around in expensive cars. Her daughter had the best of everything.
It's really nice to have you home.
It's a lifestyle Tanya dreams of. So she heeds Jade's advice and moves almost 3,000 miles away to North Carolina.
Tanya's new business on the East Coast. She starts a nail salon.
Are you happy?
Yeah, lovely. Thank you.
Great.
A new town, a new clientele. But the change brings no solution to Tanya's money troubles.
That also starts to spiral, and she starts to have financial problems.
Would you like to make another appointment?
No, not at the moment.
Jade told her to go to North Carolina and start a new business there and everything will be fine. It wasn't.
Tanya doesn't give up.
Hello, Tanya Salon.
She simply diversifies the business.
Cindy's available. At what time?
She cooked up a new way to make money. She turned it into an illegal escort service.
Okay, cash up front.
Always.
She had to supplement her income, and this seemed to be the easiest course of action for her by starting this escort service.
She even offers special arrangements for favored clients,
Hey there.
like Philippe Zamora.
So Philippe Zamora was just your average married family guy with kids, lived in a nice neighborhood, nice home, no criminal history.
Thanks for organizing this.
Philippe had a secret. He was a closeted homosexual.
No problem. Brad?
Hey, man.
You can use that room.
Philippe confided to Tanya, and she tried to introduce him to other men.
Got $50 for the room.
Tanya was the wrong person to confide in.
Sex sells. On the seedy streets of the Bronx in New York City, 30-year-old Angela Murray can make quick cash in tough times.
Angela was an ex-con. She was sort of down on her luck. My understanding is she was a part-time prostitute.
Why do they drive down here if they're not going to stop?
Tourists, just out for a look.
In 2009, she meets a wealthy, elderly client from the Upper East Side, 92-year-old Felix Brinkman.
Hey, ladies.
Hey, Felix.
Who's gonna make an old man happy tonight?
He used to tell me about picking up girls in the South Bronx, bringing them home. I'd say, Felix, man, you gotta be careful. You guys laugh at me.
What Angela doesn't realize is Felix is no ordinary senior citizen. He is the king of disco fever.
Felix ran a discotheque, Adam's Apple.
The Adam's Apple was the hottest club in the 1970s and 1980s. I spent many a night partying with him.
Not all of Felix's life has been a party. The German immigrant had a tough start.
This guy was sort of an inspiration to so many people. He survived 3 concentration camps.
He would tell me his stories of the concentration camps that he was in for almost 5 years, including Auschwitz.
According to his close friend, former NYPD detective Bo Dietl, surviving the concentration camps gave Felix an insatiable lust for life and women.
He just loved women, and it was like God took 5 years of his life away, and he was not able to be with anybody. So when he got out, he made it his direction in life to be with as many women as he can.
So when the uptown man meets this downtown girl, they are both winners.
Come to Papa.
Felix has the intimate company of a young beauty.
No kissing. Oh, come on.
And Angela sees her aging client as a golden opportunity.
She knew that he had a safe. She knew that he had valuables there.
Tanya Nelson has been promised her golden opportunity lies in North Carolina. But now her escort business is failing.
Tanya opened a store in a very conservative area of North Carolina next to a church. So it wasn't exactly the type of establishment that would be frequented by that community.
Tanya learned early on that this business wasn't going to do well.
She's headed for bankruptcy, and she knows exactly who to blame.
Can I see you?
Of course. Anytime.
Tanya set up an appointment to meet with Jade.
I'll see you soon, okay?
Okay, great. Thanks.
All right.
This time, Tanya isn't looking for a reading. She wants compensation for Jade's bad advice.
She decides to fly to California and rob Jade of her money and her jewelry. But she needed some help.
Tanya turns to the one person she can totally control, Philippe.
No, I can't.
You will. Otherwise, I'll talk to your wife.
Okay. Just don't tell my wife, okay?
Tanya knew Felipe's secret because she was arranging gay hookup partners for him. And he was closeted, so he would do what Tanya wanted.
Tanya and Philippe head to California. And on April 21st, 2005, they arrive at Jade's for their scheduled reading.
They're beautiful. Thank you.
Unaware, Jade's daughter Anita is studying in her bedroom.
But I thought you were angry at.
I want to apologize. Not me.
Jade believed this was just another consult from her good client.
She turned her back. Big mistake.
Tanya picked up a kitchen knife.
What are you doing?
And just went wild. She started stabbing Jade in the neck, face, and head.
Jade's daughter, Anita, heard the commotion.
Mom! Stop! What are you doing?
When Anita started screaming, Tanya told Philippe to shut her up.
Tanya grabs another knife from the butcher block.
Stop her screaming!
Anita had nothing to do with this. She was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Philippe was robotically doing what Tanya was ordering him to do. Tanya called all the shots.
Mother and daughter bleed out on the kitchen floor.
The last thing that Jade hears is the whimpering of her daughter as she's being stabbed to death. The cruelty of that is just mind-boggling.
Tanya and Philippe search the house for cash and jewelry.
They knew that Jade had a lot of flashy jewelry, handbags, designer clothing, things of that nature.
They find credit cards and designer goods, but miss the pot of gold.
What they failed to find was the $68,000 that was in the vacuum cleaner bag and the $500,000 in jewelry that was in the coffee grounds.
They also make another fundamental error.
We believe in their haste and, again, poor planning, that they meant to take the knives with them and forgot them at the crime scene.
Well, you know, we're not talking about experienced hitmen here.
Tanya then adds a final coat of crazy to her shocking crime.
They leave the scene and they go to a local store and get a gallon of white paint. They go back to the murder scene and pour the white paint over the victims' faces and hands.
Witchcraft, voodoo, we had every opinion coming in at us from all these outside sources on what this could have meant.
The most obvious to us as investigators is that it would have destroyed any DNA evidence at that time.
They go back to North Carolina and try to assume a normal life.
And for a few weeks, they do just that.
We were dealing with two people that didn't have criminal history. They weren't in any kind of DNA databases.
That makes them harder to find. They become more of a ghost, if you will.
Two out-of-towners with no criminal records commit a double murder without leaving a trail. In New York City, Angela Murray is assembling her own strike team to target elderly Felix Brinkman.
So how old is he?
I don't know, about 150.
Brothers, 30-year-old Hasib Cutts and 27-year-old Elijah.
She hatched an idea to go over to his house and rob him.
You should see the amount of cash he has on him. Keeps it all in this safe.
You sure you live alone?
Angela Murray was the brains behind the operation. She hatched the plan, she saw the safe, and she was sort of the femme fatale in this scenario.
In Manhattan's Upper East Side, on the night of July 29th, 2009...
Hey, excuse me. Who are you here to see?
Felix Brinkman.
Really?
Angela pays Felix an unexpected visit.
Mr. Brinkman?
Elijah Cutts is by her side.
When they got to his apartment building, they were stopped by the doorman. And Angela called up.
She's a friend of mine. Please, let it come up.
Yes, sir. You say so.
He knew Felix was quite the ladies' man, and it was not an unusual thing, put it that way.
Hi, Felix.
Tell me the combination!
Angela thinks this will be like stealing candy from a baby.
You gotta be kidding me.
She knew that he had a safe. She knew that he had valuables there.
So you're kidding now?
What she needed was some muscle to get the combination so that they could get the safe.
But the Holocaust survivor is a tough nut to crack.
You ain't getting nothing from me.
They ordered Felix to give them the combination of the safe, but he wouldn't do it.
I done 5 years in Auschwitz. You ain't gonna get nothing from me.
I know Felix, he would be looking in their face, spitting in their face and saying, do what you want to me. What I've been through, you can't even imagine.
The frail man's bravery surprises his young attackers.
Hit him!
The robbery turns violent.
They beat him, they broke 4 of his ribs, they broke his eye socket, they throttled him.
They keep beating because he wouldn't give up the combination to the safe.
Felix takes the safe's combination to his grave.
I think that he'd survived so much that he wasn't about to get bullied by these 2 punks.
Angela bungles the robbery. Now she bungles the getaway.
The safe was very heavy, so they wheeled it away in a rolling chair to Felix Brinkman's car. They stole Felix Brinkman's car to get the safe back to Angela Murray's apartment.
Hunter!
The thieves can't wait to open their treasure chest.
They spent the entire evening
Where all this money at? Huh?
beating the safe open.
Oh, get that money. Yeah, give me my money.
And when they popped it open, much to their disappointment, they found Felix Brinkman's old tax records.
What's all the papers?
There was nothing in the safe. Bingo to them. All the money and other stuff, jewelry, was in another safe that they didn't know about.
When Felix is found dead the next day, his body tells a horrible tale.
Just the brutality of the beating. His face was black and blue. The cuts were deep in his face.
His close friend, Detective Bo Deedle, is one of the first on the scene.
When I got there, I didn't go up. As a homicide detective, you can see hundreds of dead people, but when you love them, it's not just another homicide. I was his family, and he was my family.
When the police check the apartment's security cameras, they see exactly who carried out this brutal murder.
Yeah, she's a friend of mine. Let her up. She's a friend.
And Felix's phone records reveal the woman caught on camera is Angela. They raid her home.
Police entered her apartment. They found Brinkman's safe with his tax records and his ID.
Let's get her in the car.
It was a smoking gun, and they had done the crime.
Angela Murray and the Cutts brothers are charged with murder. Elijah Cutts is convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to 25 years to life. Brother Hasib, guilty of robbery and sentenced to a maximum of 15 years.
The most shocking part of the crime is the brutality of the murder. He's 90 years old. They could have let him live, but their greed, their desperation overcame them, and they murdered him.
In 2012, Angela Murray pleads guilty to second-degree murder. She must serve a minimum of 16 years in prison.
Both Angela Cutts and Angela Murray might never see the light of day again. And I think that would be a fitting punishment for them.
Angela Murray's passion for a fast buck wiped out one of Manhattan's much-loved characters.
He was an easygoing personality. I miss him all the time. I really, really do.
Hello.
Weeks after the murders of Jade Smith and daughter Anita, the police are no closer to identifying their killers. Until Tanya can't control her lust for luxury goods.
Tanya was so greedy for Jade's money, she took her credit cards. She started using them.
The Versace and Armani and some of the other stores.
Then Tanya makes a purchase that puts a bullseye on her back.
She purchased the airline tickets under Jade Smith's name.
So who was calling themselves by the name of a dead woman and using her credit cards? They were about to find out.
The police are waiting when Tanya's flight lands in Orange County. She's arrested for credit card fraud. But when it comes to the murders,
You make it easier for yourself if you talk.
Tanya doesn't say a word. Ever.
She's never spoken about the murders at all.
She was going to make us figure this out ourselves and not give any explanation.
Tanya is very cool, calm, and collected at all times. Basically feels no guilt.
Her co-killer, Philippe, is the opposite. He can't stop talking.
How do you know Tanya Nelson?
I wish I didn't.
What did she make you do?
She made me go to Jade's.
He just talked and talked and talked. Ultimately, that initial interrogation was almost up to 6 hours of him describing everything that happened.
She threatened me. She screamed at me, "Kill her! Kill her! Stop her!"
In 2009, Philippe Zamora pleads guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder and is sentenced to 27 years to life in prison.
Philippe Zamora was played by a master manipulator and got nothing for it but life in prison.
Tanya Nelson is convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder. Due to the special circumstances, the number of victims, the motive of money, and the manner of attack, she is serving life behind bars, no chance of parole.
I don't think there's any better place for a person like Tanya to be sitting.
Tanya believed Jade owed her compensation for bad advice. The price she set, 2 innocent lives.
It's not a bad novel. It happened in real life, and 2 beautiful people paid for it.
Tanya, to this day, is the queen of greed and evil. She is a woman that you do not want to cross.
Tanya chose to solve her problems through murder.
When a person's first love is money,
Everything I have is yours.
even their nearest and dearest aren't safe.
Where's my dad?
In the desert city of Lakewood, Colorado in 2003,
Testing 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2 1 2. Testing. We good.
recent arrival, Alvin Spears, is building a new life.
Alvin was studying to be a minister.
Your husband's a very talented young man. How are his studies?
He'll be a minister in no time.
His wife, Darlene, is right by his side.
She, by all appearances, also was involved in the church and seemed supportive of everything that Alvin was doing. To everybody, she presented as a God-fearing, church-going woman.
Just 2 years earlier, back in their hometown of Louisiana, Alvin and Darlene hit rock bottom.
Alvin had a bit of a checkered past for sure. He was dealing in drugs.
And his 28-year-old wife, Darlene, is dealing in guns.
Make sure they're 38s.
Have I ever let you down?
She was charged or indicted for selling guns. She was in trouble with the feds for that.
But their life of crime comes to an end when Alvin is arrested. To save himself, he becomes a police informant.
There's probably no more dangerous activity
What do you got?
Tuesday, Sammy's garage at midnight.
than being a drug dealer and informing on your colleagues to the police. But that's what Alvin was doing.
Nice work.
Okay.
He is making enemies fast. So the couple skip town.
Alvin wanted to get out of the criminal life he had in Louisiana and saw Colorado as a new beginning.
He was somebody that was trying to get that big redo in life that a lot of people don't get.
He tried really hard, got a job as a truck driver, was involved in his gym.
Look what the boys put together.
A holy night of hip-hop featuring Alvin Spears? Hey, baby, you got top billing.
I am the star.
He was trying to turn his life around, by all accounts, and everyone in Colorado saw that of him.
Now the young couple are safe and secure, but they still have one problem.
Hey!
Money was a huge issue. They didn't have any. Darlene and Alvin's new start in Colorado left them pretty much penniless.
What do you think?
How much all that cost?
Why? You don't want your woman to look good?
Life without crime isn't paying so well. And Darlene is missing the cash.
Don't stay up too long, baby.
Darlene's life in Colorado was going the way she wanted to go. She was respected. She saw a future. The only problem is she didn't have the money.
Being short of cash can put a strain on any relationship. In the tiny town of Novinger, Missouri in 2004,
Let me.
It's fine. I got it.
newlyweds Elaine and Melvin Grisbauer have their own money woes.
They were struggling, kind of paycheck to paycheck.
But after 3 divorces, Elaine thinks she's finally found Mr. Right.
Looked like a good match. She lived on a farm where she bred dogs. He liked dogs too. He was a dog breeder, and that's how they met, actually.
I can't believe you're going away so soon.
But no sooner do they tie the knot than duty calls.
We haven't even had a real honeymoon.
There'll be plenty of time for it when I get back. I promise.
They didn't really have time to get to know each other as a newlywed couple living in the same house before he was deployed to Iraq.
Elaine is worried.
Yeah, but what happens if you get hurt or killed?
But Melvin is prepared for the worst.
He had gotten a lot of insurance in case something happened to him there.
Besides, family should happen. The Army will look after you.
He had a $600,000 life insurance policy on him.
While the Army reservist is away serving his country, he entrusts Elaine to run his breeding business.
You look after them while I'm gone?
Yeah, like they're our children.
She becomes a regular at the local dog shows, where she befriends fellow breeder Catherine Mock.
Oh, they're so beautiful. That one has perfect shape. I'm sure he'll make a show dog.
Catherine kind of even held Elaine on a pedestal, really.
I was hoping you'd help me sell some.
I'd love to.
Catherine looked up to her, because here was a woman who had this big farm and bred dogs and looked like a success.
But looks can be deceiving.
Hey, stranger.
Elaine is no businesswoman.
I missed you.
By the time Melvin comes home, the couple is almost broke. To save her farm, Elaine needs to refinance, and she wants Melvin to add his name to her loan application.
I'll be honest. I'm not happy about this.
Melvin's not so sure.
But it's the only way I can save my farm.
That's my point. It's your farm. My dad.
Melvin was not happy with signing this paperwork because it was putting him on the farm, it was putting him on a debt on a farm that he didn't own.
Everything I have is yours.
Melvin had no idea of what he was dealing with when he married Elaine Young. Putting his name on the property, he put himself in a precarious position.
There's more than financial strain on this marriage. When Catherine comes to stay for a weekend,
Catherine,
Elaine reveals a terrible secret.
can I confide in you?
Of course.
She told her that her husband abused her.
Since he's got back, he's been beating me.
Oh, Elaine.
Melvin treated me badly. He hurt me. Catherine, she was very angry that Melvin would abuse her physically.
Elaine claims a divorce will cost her everything.
He'll take the farm away from me, and it's been in my family for generations and generations.
Will you help me?
Of course. Anything for you.
The allegations are false, but without hesitation, Catherine is willing to help.
She said yes, because she saw Elaine as a victim. Of course she'd help her.
In Lakewood, Colorado, on December 7th, 2003,
Hey, you coming? Dinner's up.
Darlene Spears doesn't need any help to solve her money problems. Alvin prepares a romantic meal for two.
You spoil me, babe.
And Darlene prepares to reveal her financial plan.
I got a surprise for you. Let me get it.
You are spoiling me.
Alvin was caught completely by surprise. He had no idea this was coming.
He stood, he tried to walk away from that. He continued to be hit in the back of the shoulder now.
He was in shock. Alvin could not believe that his wife was standing there with a sledgehammer doing what she did to him.
Why are you doing this to me?
He's trying to move around the apartment, trying to get out. He goes over, tries to actually crawl up underneath the desk, and the desk is hit.
When Darlene murdered Alvin, she didn't hold back. She stabbed him with a knife and crushed his head with a sledgehammer.
And that's when Darlene's plan is interrupted.
Police, open up.
Neighbors, appalled by the sounds they hear, call the police.
They knock, they announce their presence, and immediately Darlene locks the deadbolt on the front door.
This is the police. Open the door. You're safe now. Open the door.
Darlene needs to stall.
There was a slight delay in getting that door open. And Darlene claimed that she had to change because she wasn't dressed.
Ma'am, please.
And when she came and answered the door, she was in bloody clothes.
Homicide, 187.
Who puts on bloody clothes to answer the door when the cops are there?
Ma'am, can you tell me exactly what happened?
Darlene told police that 2 drug dealers from Louisiana had come looking for payback.
There were 2 of them. They forced me into the bedroom. I heard everything.
The 2 drug dealers would travel from New Orleans to Colorado, lock her in the closet and brutally kill her husband and leave is highly unlikely. They probably would have killed her too.
The police are skeptical, but they don't have enough evidence to immediately make an arrest. For months, Darlene is free to pursue a career as a team leader.
Leadership is based on inspiration, not domination.
She even speaks publicly about the dangers of home invasions.
She brutally killed a guy who was turning his life around and then passing herself off as a victimized woman, professional, and moving on with her life.
Playing the victim is Elaine Young's plan too. On March 23, 2006, her friend Catherine Mock reports a tragedy.
Catherine Mock calls the 911, saying that they thought maybe he committed suicide. He'd been in the military. I think there were some claims of PTSD.
It was becoming too commonplace with Iraqi vets.
He had made, suicidal thoughts in the past.
But it is one of the strangest suicides investigators have ever seen.
Right off the bat is, and this is kind of weird, but his body fell like he was on a crucifix. His arms were wide open, and he was just, looking up at the sky.
The strangest thing of all is his gun.
Final clue was it was loaded and ready to go again.
It is now a murder investigation. The police also find gloves and a balaclava hidden near the barn.
The crime lab examined the mask real quick. They found saliva on it, and we were able to get DNA off it.
The DNA belongs to Catherine. She is charged with first-degree murder.
She went silent and was silent for a long time.
As investigators build a case against her, they come across other evidence.
There were 2 $200,000 policies on his life, adding up to about $1.1 million upon his death.
It's Elaine, not Catherine, who stands to benefit from Melvin's death.
I wish she was dead.
And then a farmhand comes forward with an explosive allegation.
She told her hand on the farm, listen, I'll make a deal with you. You kill my husband, I'll give you $10,000 and I'll kill your wife. And it'll look like an accident. No one will ever know.
It's now clear to investigators Elaine is involved. Finally, after 2 years behind bars, Catherine reveals what really happened that night.
Put up back. Great. I'll head out and leave you two to it.
After dinner, Melvin makes his rounds of the farm.
Melvin went out to the first barn to check on his dogs, make sure they were okay.
Tonight, the two women plan to join him. Elaine insists Catherine dons a mask and gloves.
Elaine just kind of had control over her.
When Melvin approaches the horse barn, the women are shadows in the dark.
They just hid in that horse barn because Elaine knew that when he came out to get to the horses, he would be standing right there in front of that door. And that's when he was shot.
Suddenly, everything ended for him. His body tumbled to the ground. He didn't know what hit him.
But it's not Catherine who pulls the trigger. It's Elaine. And Melvin isn't the only one in her sights.
What have we done? Hold it together, Catherine.
She told Catherine, listen, I got what you need to keep you from going to jail.
Now you need to take all of these. You understand?
She hands her 100 hydrocodone pills.
They'll calm you down. Hey.
Overdosing on that drug only takes 18, and she gave her 100 and told her to take them right away.
Elaine is setting Catherine up for a murder-suicide. Miraculously, Catherine survives the overdose, but for 2 years keeps her mouth shut.
Catherine was very intimidated. I think that she felt that Elaine had this power over her, or that if she spoke on Elaine, that something could possibly happen to her.
That she would be killed and so her family. That's what she told me.
In 2012, both women are found guilty of conspiracy to commit murder for hire. Catherine Mock receives 2 concurrent life sentences.
People say she didn't have a mean bone in her body, but whatever it was, Elaine had that control over her that could control her and manipulate her to do something like that. It's kind of crazy, really.
The mastermind, Elaine Young, also receives 2 life sentences.
Elaine didn't mind taking advantage of anybody else. What was important was Elaine, period. And she used people to get what she wanted.
Elaine banked her future on life insurance payouts. That's Darlene Spears' plan too.
So do I get cash or bank transfer?
Darlene takes out 8 life insurance policies on Alvin.
So how's the money paid?
Adding up all these insurance policies until it adds to up about $380,000.
Do you need any extra forms? Do you need a death certificate?
She's already contacted 3 or 4 of the 8 policyholders to try to get the money.
Thank you.
It's a strong motive for murder, But it's forensic evidence that seals her fate.
Darlene explained the blood on her clothes, saying that it was transfer blood from Alvin when she was tending to him. But forensics proved it was spatter, high-velocity spatter blood. It's entirely possible that after 3 months, Darlene thought she was home clear. She wasn't going to be arrested. Surprise!
She's actually at a seminar, a work seminar on leadership.
There is only one rule. Hunt or be hunted.
She's in the middle of a seminar when I arrest her.
I've been expecting you.
She looked me right in the eyes and she said, "I've been expecting you."
Take her away.
In 2006, Darlene Spears is found guilty of murder and sentenced to life plus 48 years behind bars. Although she'd been a petty criminal, Darlene had no history of violence and a previously good relationship with her husband.
There's one clear-cut motive in this case, and it's a word that begins with G and ends in R-E-E-D.
Greed is what really drove her to try to get to where she wanted to be. And unfortunately, her husband was not going to be a part of that.